Hello and welcome to the second Spiral Abyss Floor 12 video of 2026, this time concerning the reset from mid-February to mid-March. This video has chapters and timestamps, so you can skip straight to the part that interests you the most. And with that being said, we're going to start by taking a look at the Abyssal Blessing and Disorders, then we're going to cover which enemies await us in each room and their core mechanics, and lastly, we're going to talk about the teams and characters that you can use to clear. After that, I'm clearing it using my own characters on my account, mostly for the sake of record keeping, but I will also do my best to give out some tips here and there. So, let's start talking about the bosses and the blessings and disorders that are going to be available for us in this abyss. We're going to go over side A first, and then side B, and then the blessings. The first boss on the first chamber of side A is not a boss at all, it's just a Fisher of the Hidden Depths, and there's 15 of these guys. So they're enemies that we have met before in the newest Not Cry Island update, and we also met them on the Stygian Onslaught. The second chamber of the floor 12, we have the Stern Shield Crabs and the Emperor of Fire and Iron, which are the crabs that are also on Stygian Onslaught, as if that wasn't enough, right? So these guys, they just have a Pyro Shield, the Stern Shield Crabs and the Emperor, both of them, and you just want to have Hydro application preferably to like deal really quickly with them, or you can just bring like most DPSs are going to be able to brute force them because the shield is not as strong as the Stygian shield. On the third chamber of floor 12, we have the Lord of Hidden Depths, which is the new boss from Stygian, yes, and this one is also going to do the animation and summon fissures. But it's easier to deal with the shield as well because it doesn't have as much HP, so it is possible to brute force even if you're not using lunar damage. Of course, it is recommended to still use lunar for like dealing with his special Not Cry shield thing. However, you know, he is still something you can deal with regardless. Now, on the second side, side B of this abyss, we have first on chamber 1, we have the Frost Knight Hera, which is a monster that we could find in the Stygian Onslaught a while ago as well. This one, you must bring lunar damage or physical damage actually in order to negate its damage, elemental damage absorption. So what does that even mean? Well, if you deal a lot of instances of the same elemental damage to this enemy, it's going to absorb that element and it's going to become immune to it after the mechanics like phase at the start. So you have to, like, for example, if you run a Mavuika team, at the very start you can't really damage him with Mavuika while he is charging his skill, because if you do that, he is going to absorb pyro and it's gonna be immune to pyro. So you want to like use cryo or use lunar or use physical so that it either absorbs cryo and you can deal like, you know, melt damage to it, or physical and lunar just like it doesn't absorb any elements, so you can easily deal with it as well. Also, if you use lunar damage specifically, not physical or elemental, like normal damage, it's going to take like 3 or 5 times more hits. Like it's going to count for more hits. You need to hit it like 50 times for it to lose its shield thing at the start. But if you use lunar damage, it counts like 3 times more, so you have to hit it way less in order to make it work. So lunar is also recommended on side B, which makes this abyss quite the annoying abyss. It's one of the most annoying abysses ever, and in practice it has one of the largest like HP amounts ever as well, because the monsters are all like Not Cry monsters and they tend to have shields or second life bars, so effectively their HP is 3 or 2 times as much as you actually see in game, right? So second chamber for floor 12, we have the Wilderness Hunters. Now these guys are very, very tanky and you have to kill like them 2 or 3 times if you're using a standard character brute forcing him. Or if you have a lunar character, the first time you kill it, the second health bar already starts deteriorating a little bit, so it's easier to kill him in the second life, but it's also like a lunar shield kind of enemy that you find in Not Cry. And there's 4 of them, so there's 2 waves of 2 of these guys. So be aware, you have to kill 2 and 2 more. For the last chamber of floor 12, we have the Legatus Golem, which is a little bit of a geo shield, but not really. You can kind of deal with them without bringing a lot of geo damage. You can kind of brute force this one as well. But especially if you have Zabai or Navia or Chiori, any of those characters that deal lots of geo damage, it's going to take off his shield quicker, so you can actually deal the brute force damage. Like you're not going to have to deal with the damage reduction because of his shield. And there's only one of these guys, of course. It's a boss. So there we go. Those are the enemies present on both sides. And now we talk about the abyssal buffs. Well, the blessing of the Abyssal Moon, which is the strongest buff, like the main one, is that there's going to be a true damage shockwave whenever you trigger Lunar Crystallize, which is the new reaction added with Zibai. So they're like shilling Zibai a little bit here because it's her banner, right? So if you have Zibai teams, or if you have Navia, Chiori, Ito, whatever teams like very invested into using Columbina to trigger Crystallize and Lunar Crystallize instead of normal Crystallize, you're going to be able to capitalize on that. And also don't forget about the Ascendant Gleam buffs. On the side A specifically, there is a little bit of a damage bonus to Lunar Charge, 75%, which increases the effectiveness of characters such as Flynn's, Ineffa, or characters like older characters with Columbina and Ineffa on the team, right? Same thing for side B, but instead of Lunar Charge, it's Lunar Crystallize damage, which is even more shield for Zibai and older GOG DPSs with Columbina. So there we have it. That's it for all the bosses and blessings, and now we're going to move on to the teams we can bring to this abyss. Starting with side A, we have Flynn's, Nefer, Mavuika, and Skirk teams. Now, although this abyss actually kind of infers that you want to bring Flynn's to the side A because of the Lunar Charge damage bonus, actually what I would recommend most people doing if they have only one Lunar team is having it on the second half on side B and then leaving side A for brute forceable like characters. So like if you have Skirk or if you have Mavuika, just leave them on side A and try to brute force it with them. And side B, which is the more relevant one because of the Wilderness Hunters, the 4 Wilderness Hunters that have like lots of HP and they're basically a huge time sink unless you're Ascendant Gleam state. Have the Lunar team be on side B fighting those guys because they're probably what's going to be the most difficult thing on this abyss, right? Everything else is kind of fine, slight annoyance at best. So yeah. Flynn's over here though, if you have like multiple Lunar teams or if you have like just a lot of teams, a lot of investment you can work with. You have Flynn's team, of course. You can substitute this Ineffa, for example, for Fischl with Sucrose when they have the Hexenzuko buff. It's a pretty good team. Columbina or Ino are interchangeable as well, like buffs more. Columbina buffs more than Ino, but still you can deal pretty good damage with Flynn's. Nefer team, you can substitute like Nahida, Kokomi, you can put Nilu over there as well. It's well invested. Same thing, I know, but she wants more Columbina, more than any other Lunar character, more than any other DPS. Nefer wants Columbina instead of Ino. And Mavuika with her premium team works pretty well. I do not know, I haven't tested because I don't have Mavuika, but I'm pretty sure she does work. I've heard about it in many videos already. I've seen people do it. I've seen people use Mavuika even if it's not her premium melt teams. And the Skirk, of course, works with Mona on the 4th slot. She works with Shenhe, Citlali, Xingqiu, Yelan. Any of those characters probably work pretty well with Skirk for this half of the abyss. And other teams that I've seen working are Varessa at high investments. Like Varessa Overload can clear first side. Clorend, like C2, R1. From what I've heard, can also clear technically if she has a good team. Neuvillette can of course clear if he has the especially Neuvillette low investment with the wheelchair. Lunar wheelchair can clear, but also high investment Neuvillette can of course clear most content in the game still. And Arlecchino, I've managed to clear with Arlecchino Melt, with Arlecchino Overload, and Arlecchino Ineffa, Bennett really. She's been able to clear all of the Chambers of the Abyss. So moving on to side B now, we have the side that wants Lunar Crystallize. So there's Zibai, of course, the newest character they want to shield for this abyss. And you can use it for the second slot on Zibai team, a lot of different characters. I've seen most people using Goro, but it's kind of usable if you have Chiori, if you have Zhongli, it's probably fine. And she doesn't really need Columbina. She's I think the character that relies on her the least out of all the Lunar DPSs, so you can put Ino there as well. If you have a high investment Navia, you can actually bring her here, like a C2 R1 Navia or something. I assume it works pretty well, especially if it's like a Columbina version of the team with Ino. I mean, not with Ino, with Navia. I assume it works pretty well, right? Skirk team and Mavuika team here as well can brute force this side of the Abyss. For the second half, Skirk manages pretty well. Mavuika, I don't know, but I assume she can as well because the DPS is even higher, especially if you have the combos and stuff for Mavuika. And here you have to remember, I think I've said it twice already, but you have to, if you don't have the brute forceable teams, you gotta bring Ascendant Gleam. So either 2 lunar characters like Ineffa and Flynn's, or, you know, Nefer and Lauma, or you bring just 2 4-stars or something like Iluga or Aino or Jehoda, all of those 4-stars. Also, if they're in the team, they contribute to Ascendant Gleam. And then the Columbina, and the characters actually do so as well, of course. Now, as to how I did this Abyss, how I passed each part, we're going to start with the Melt team with Arlecchino for side A, right, on the floor 12 chamber 1. Now, this can actually be a very good team. It can pass with Arlecchino Premium Melt team, same team as Mavuika's team. I think it takes a slightly longer time than you would expect, as it takes like, you finish it by 8 minutes and 40, 8 minutes and 30, so it takes a while. To finish the whole thing, about as long as it would take with Varessa, right? And now with the Skirk on the second half, I tried it as well. Skirk on the second half has the little issue that you cannot really hit it with Cryo at the start. You have to hit it with Hydro a bunch of times before you can actually kill the boss using Cryo. But then from the moment that Skirk actually takes the field, she can actually deal a lot of damage and finish it up really quickly. So as you're gonna see, I'm gonna speed up the footage here, and after slapping it a quadrillion times with the time I had left from the Arlecchino chamber, I'm actually able to kill it with Skirk. Now on the second chamber for floor 12, side A, right, with Arlecchino, I'm actually able to brute force the crab. Despite the fact that it has some resistance to Pyro, and it has a Pyro shield that can still like pierce through the shield because of the Red Shred, combined Red Shred from Xilonen and Citlali, and with that I have enough time to still kill it with a decent time left over, so like probably 8.5 minutes. Minutes and 40, and now we move on to chamber 2 on the B side with the Skirk team. Here we must assure that we are hitting both targets at the same time. I may not be able to do it perfectly here or execute this perfectly, but like it is passable if you have Skirk hitting both of them at the same time with her normal attacks and keeping them frozen as much as possible so that they don't regenerate their health, like there's a delay. Now these guys are very tanky, as I said earlier. They're probably the most annoying enemy in this Abyss, so you want to bring a Flynn's team or some kind of Lunar, or at the very least an Ascendant Gleam team to deal with these guys. But yeah, it's definitely brute forceable. Everything is brute forceable once you have enough, well, brute force, right? So Skirk, Mavuika, depending on how much damage you have, of course you can do this. Let's see if we're able to pass here with 7 minutes plus on the clock. So 15 seconds remaining. I was able to hit them both at once here with the ult. So yeah, I went below 7 minutes. That's when I tried to restart and like think of a different team, right? And I tried to put Skirk on side A as the brute forceable side. I tried to change my strategy. I think it would still be doable if it would be like perfectly executed with the Abyssal guys on the earlier chamber. But I prefer not to give myself a headache, and I put Skirk on A side and Lunar team on B side so I can clear those guys faster, you know? So we're going to speed up here. We already did this, but with Arlecchino earlier. Skirk also clears these guys quite easily, especially if you freeze them and hit them at the same time. Same thing with the Wild Hunt enemies from the previous chamber. So the only thing you have to pay attention with these chicken guys is that they are all going to clump together once you break one of their shields. So once you break one of the guys' shields, they're all going to like clump together and you can kill them easier that way. So you can focus on one at the start. Here with Arlecchino, I chose a mixed, like a Lunar Arlecchino team. So over Vape Lunar, right? And at the start, I hit them with Ineffa and Columbina, so he loses his immunity to elements. He doesn't get any immunity to any elements, right? So I can hit him with my Arlecchino and DPS in that way with Xilonen. And I brought Xilonen here mainly because of the red shred and because of the last boss that requires a little bit of Geo. So it's going to help us with the Lunar crystallize and with the Geo damage for the last boss as well. So yeah, Arlecchino's able to deal with this Frost Knight Hera quite easily with the Lunar team, with the Bennett team. And then we move on to Chamber B, floor 12. And now we have Skirk on side A, dealing with the crab. It should be trivial, simply because, well, there's enough Hydro application in the team to break its shield and make it lose resistance. And then we can just ult or burst with Skirk and basically delete this boss. Or we can use the normal attack chain as well, either way. Now Arlecchino Lunar on this side, on the side B of Chamber 2, should be more effective because of the Ascendant Gleam and Lunar benefits that this team gives us, right? To drain health from the two health pools combined from these enemies of the Wild Hunt. So as you can see, both of the health bars are draining at once, the red one and the white one. It's gonna take a while still because they're very tanky and Arlecchino is not the most DPS heavy character, but I like playing Arlecchino. I'll use my Arlecchino. I'll just speed up the footage and smack them a couple thousand times. Still have a minute left, so we're unconcerned. It's not an issue for us. And there they go. So for Chamber 3 now, the last chamber, we have the dog. the one that was in the Stygian last time, right? The Wild Hunt one, or the Abyssal one. We can take off his shield with a single burst or a single normal attack chain from Skirk here, because its shield is nowhere near as tanky as the Stygian version of this boss. So it's pretty much doable. Even though I have no lunar damage, if I have brute force damage, I can still like destroy the shield if it's like Mawika or Skirk or something like that. Of course, the meta characters can do it. Now, I wouldn't recommend or say the same about non-meta characters. Maybe you will need like some kind of lunar damage if you're not bringing them the meta carries here. But after you take off its shield, he is pretty much not a very strong enemy. He doesn't have a lot of HP. You can like destroy him, kill him in like under a minute, I would surmise. I take a little bit longer to set up the rotation and stuff and absorb the rifts with Skirk, and I just delete him. I could have also just absorbed the rifts and like, you know, let Furina and Escoffier kill them. But it's useless because it's already the last floor, the last chamber, right? So I'm not going to use Skirk again, so I just might as well just delete the guy as fast as I can. Now for this last one, the Centaur, the Golem, now I'm just using a Xilonen to help me deplete its Geo Shield slowly and getting the Lunar Crystallizes and stuff. And at some point during the fight, I'm either gonna wither down the shield and leave it with less resistance so I can finish him off with Arlecchino, or I'm just gonna like deal so much damage that I'm gonna kill him regardless, right? So there you go. He is weakened now, and he died, right? So that's the first way I passed the Abyss. Definitively, I did use Skirk for the first half, and I used Arlecchino Lunar team for the second half. I also tried this with Chasca. I also tried the Lunar teams with Chasca, and I had to use Xilonen as well for the same reasons or similar reasons as to why I used Arlecchino Xilonen, right? And it worked out well enough, actually. Chasca could beat the second side or side B of the Abyss, as well as Arlecchino could with a similar team, or with the same team, right? Except for the hyper carry, Arlecchino turning into a... Well, Arlecchino is not a hyper carry in that team exactly, just a carry, and Chasca is the same here. She's more of a... I don't even know if she's being a carry right now, because most of the damage is probably lunar. But we're able to complete this regardless. And on side A here, I use Skirk again. I just wanted to demonstrate how Chasca performs in this Abyss. So I kind of skipped the Skirk part, because we already saw it, right? For side A. So yeah, she just pierces right through the mechanic here at the end. Because of the lunar damage. And then we have Chasca in the double Wild Hunt, 2 waves of Wild Hunt enemies. See if we can do something against them. Now I believe Chasca can do it on the nick of time, like 7 minutes left. And that's because she's C0, so her multi-target damage is kind of low. If you have Chasca C2, you could probably do it comfortably. Probably, that's what I'm guessing, right? Also got hit a couple times, not optimal. Well, nothing I do is necessarily ever optimal. I'm just, you know, I'm just playing the game. I'm just showing how I do things. There we go. It's actually 20 seconds of breathing time there. Still 7 minutes and 20. I thought it was going to be tighter. Watching the replay now, right? And let's see if I can do the same with Xilonen here and trying to use her to weaken his Geo Shield in the hopes of getting his shield to be destroyed at some point during the fight. So yeah, we managed to destroy his shield at the very end there, and we can finish him off with Chasca. So yeah, we completed the Abyss again, using Skirk on the first half, Chasca second half, with the lunar wheelchair kind of team, but whatever, you know. And here I'm actually trying another team, yet another one. That's Arlecchino again on the first half, but with an overload team, Durin Fischl overload, Hex and Circle. And it seems it's a good enough team to pass. It's a passable team, especially if you have a good like lunar team on the second half. The only issue with this team is that you want to group these enemies together at the start, right? And it's very hard to group them together if you're having overload reactions, because the overload reaction is an explosion that makes them separate from each other. So they keep you know, grouping them by destroying their shield, but then the overload reaction makes them go flying away, and you have to like go catch the strays, go after the ones that are far away, and you lose a bunch of time by doing that. And I think that's the same issue with using Varessa here. So but yeah, you have like 8 minutes, and I believe it's doable with 8.5 minutes if you do it optimally. Of course, I'm not doing it optimally, I'm just trying to showcase the thing. But it was good enough, I suppose. And we skipped over the second half because we passed it. So we're going to go to side A with this team. Of course, you know, first half with Crab, Arlecchino, Durin, Fischl, Chevreuse team. And because of the extreme like resistance shred that this team gives us, we're able to kind of bypass the Crab's health pool the same way we were able to do with Citlali and Xilonen, or Citlali and Sucrose, or any of those other teams that we use Arlecchino on here for the Crab. And with 8.5 minutes, we're able to kill it similar in a similar way to the other one, right? To the other run we did with Citlali. And here's how the team performs against the last boss of the floor 12 Abyss, right? The third chamber, side A, using Arlecchino Overload. Have to get through this guy's shield really quickly, or else he's gonna blow up, deal a bunch of damage, and not be stunned. But we are able to get through it with our Arlecchino Overload team, and now it's just a matter of time. Just wither down his health. He doesn't have a lot of health, so it's just like hit him a bunch of times, and we're gonna be able to do it. So yeah, that's how we completed the Abyss Floor 12 in a bunch of ways actually in February. Now I wanted to show more teams that I could use to complete it. I'm leaving you with the clips on the background now with all the character builds, the main character builds that I used, right? It's gonna be running. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you prefer this kind of video rather than the other one, because the previous video, I just kind of didn't talk much. I didn't really put a lot of jokes in the video. It wasn't a very natural pattern of speech. It was kind of scripted. And as for this one, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to try actually talking more to the camera and stuff, like not to the camera, but to the microphone, right? More natural style of video. I'm just playing with the video editor, really, learning how to use it and stuff. So I would appreciate any feedback you have about it, because it's not a very important kind of video, right? It's like an Abyss run video. Every single YouTuber, Genshin Impact, does this kind of video. So it's not like I plan on keeping on doing that forever, right? I'm just like playing around, learning what's good, having some footage to edit, you know? It's very interesting to do it every single month. I'm trying to make Stygian Onslaught videos as well, but like Stygian tends to, like recently the past like 2 Stygians, like the March one, because I'm already in March when I'm finishing editing this video, and the February one, they were kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm not really able to give a lot of tips, considering that I'm not able to finish the thing. I could make a video regardless, right, about the Stygian Onslaught, even though I don't complete it on difficulty 5, which is the one I aim for with all teams. But maybe I can give some tips and I can show you how I passed difficulty 4 at the very least. And usually I'm able to do like 2 out of 3 out of the difficulty 5 ones, but that's about it. I cannot promise you I'm going to deliver on the Stygian video though. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. The next one is going to be a stream following the Varka story quest. The stream's going to be about the latest event on Genshin Impact that's going on Mondstadt, and hope to see you there.